Tak Mathews. Vijay Venkatesh. Very valuable indeed. Last week I was in a mall in Ranchi and I helped a family who was struggling with their mother in a sari who panicked. Showed the lady how to manage her plates and at the same time never take the other hand off the support rail. Well done, Vijay. Sudha Raman, good morning. Well explained. It's a refresher's course for all from Tak Mathews. Last leg of conversation with the founding trustee of the Elevators and Escalators Safety Trust.
Morning Mumbai with Hrishi K.
Let's do a special on maintenance and inspection, especially for people who are part of building societies. I find that often committees, working committees in building societies are, not in the know on what really needs to be done. How often do you need to get inspections done? How often should it be serviced? What kind of annual maintenance contract should there be? Should it be with the company that has designed the lift, or can it be a third party? And most importantly, how long would an elevator car work for? Does one need to change it after 15 years or 20 years, 25 years? I know it's a lot of questions packed into one, but you can handle it. You're the man.
I'll try to address it one by one. Okay. First, related to maintenance. Any equipment, whether it's your car or your bike or whatever it is dependent upon good maintenance. Elevators are not any different. Probably it's a little bit more complex for an elevator because it's something that is used by numerous people. There's nobody who is continually monitoring it like you would monitor your own car. So if you are not maintaining your equipment, or the equipment is not, you do not know who is actually taking care of your equipment, it's probably better to use the stairs. And I say this with a lot of seriousness because we do tend to save money on maintenance. I've seen housing society after housing society, they get a low maintenance quote and they're very happy about it because of the money they think that they are saving. But if it is low maintenance and the quote is doesn't sort of justify, doesn't sort of equate for the work that needs to be done or the parts that need to be changed, the question that needs to be asked is how come it is so low? Unfortunately, nobody sees that, and the first thing they see is the bottom line that they've saved a lot of money. Then the question that comes up is what kind of a maintenance contract? That's where, again, I have a lot of issue where people take out parts and components, say that, okay, we will not cover this and we will not cover that so that we can save money. For instance, there are many maintenance contracts where the ropes, which virtually are a critical part of the elevators, are not covered under maintenance contract, which means that in the eventuality the ropes need to be replaced. It's subject to a proposal being submitted to the society, the committee, and they approving it. Which is not a great idea. In my opinion, every elevator needs to be covered under a comprehensive maintenance contract, which ensures that if something needs to be replaced, it is not subject to an approval. It is left to the elevator company to do it without having to wait for something. You raised a question about who should be maintaining the elevator equipment. In the Indian context, unlike, let's say, for instance, the US, components and parts are not available readily on the market. Like, for instance, I cannot go and buy X elevator company's components off the market, off the shelf. So then the question that I would ask is, okay, fine, if X equipment is going to be maintained by Y, where does he get the parts from? And if he's not going to get the parts from, that means he needs to make adjustments. And I don't think that's a great way of getting your equipment maintained, particularly an equipment that is as critical as an elevator or an escalator. I think the question that you asked is how often should it be maintained? A good maintenance cycle would be once a month, and when I say a cycle, it is something that is scientifically established. So if you were to go to one of the major elevator companies, they would give you a cycle which says that, okay, this equipment needs to be looked once in 4 months, this activity needs to be done once every month. And that I'm saying is a scientific process. It's not that you just walk across to the elevator and then say, okay, today let me do this or let me do that. It's a scientific process. Of course, when you go to a site, you need to check for noises, you need to check with the users in whether there's been any particular problem, and then you address issues which do come up. But otherwise, there has to be a scientific process, and that's probably why we call it a preventive maintenance cycle. You talked about inspections. Many of the states in this country have an inspect rate. Maharashtra, for instance, has the inspect rate, lift inspect rate. And they have a big job to do in terms of ensuring that people comply with what is required in terms of standards and codes. There's a Maharashtra Lift Act and Lift and Escalator Act of which is enforced. However, we also need to keep in mind when somebody comes to inspect an equipment, something that we as consultants also do, we are just inspecting a particular period of time. I mean, it's just like a snapshot that we get. And out of that snapshot, we need to try to figure out what would have happened in the past and what is likely to happen in the future. An inspection on its own does not assure you that your elevator is safe and will not give you problems. The only thing that will assure you is that it is maintained well, because that's a 24/7 activity that does happen. So there is a lot of emphasis that, okay, the inspectorate needs to ensure that the elevators are in place. Yes, they do need to enforce, but we need to recognize very clearly that there is a limit to what can be achieved by pure inspections.
How can we get in touch with you, TAC Mathews, you and the Elevators and Escalators Safety Trust?
My email ID is tac.mathews, that is tak.mathews @tacconsulting.net. That's takconsulting.net.
Just repeat it one more time.
tac.mathews @tacconsulting.net, tak.mathews @takconsulting.net.
Up ahead, Gwen Stefani with Sweet Escape and the Bloomberg Quinn Minute. Thanks very much for your time and full power in everything that you do.
Thank you very much.